So when you're manipulating photos, there's often four main things that you would need to do. That's adjusting the color, adjusting the contrast and brightness, crop, and resizing. So I'm not sure that most people would think of Google Slides as a place to manipulate photos, but there are some functions over here that we could do if you're in a pinch and need to quickly resize an image, maybe do some basic adjustments. So I've got a new presentation over here, and if I go over to File and then Page Setup, I have a few different options. There's widescreen, standard, and 16 by 10 widescreen, which is like more for a projection screen. But if I go to Custom, this is kind of where the power is inside the program. I have inches, centimeters, points, and pixels. Since we're doing something on the computer, we're probably the most interested in pixels. So if I did this and I was making a thumbnail image for Photoshop, it would be 1920 by 1080. If you're unsure of what size that you need, usually most websites will tell you what you need for that particular template. If you're printing the photo, then you could go to inches and make that this way. It's actually a pretty powerful tool as far as being able to scale to whatever size you want it to be, as long as you know what to plug in here. For us, let's just pretend like we're taking this image. We're going to make a thumbnail background for YouTube, so 1920 by 1080, or this could be for a video as well. So now that I've got that resized, I'm just going to bring in an image. So if I go here, here's my Grand Canyon, my original image. So if I drag that over here, it'll put it in place. You'll see it's going to have it at the size that it was, or according to the aspect ratio. So we need to stretch this image to fit our whole page here. And we have a few different options if we need to zoom in or out in case the slide is not on our screen. I think you'll be able to see the whole slide right now, so we're just going to leave that as is. So I've got the image in here. Now, once it's in here, if I click on Format Options, you'll see some of those options. Maybe I'll move this window over a little bit. So the first one we have is Size and Rotation. So if I go here, I can lock my aspect ratio. That's a pretty important thing, so that when you scale it, it's not like copying off your, that's kind of a good useful thing to do, because when you scale it now, locking off that aspect ratio is a good idea, because when you scale it, you won't be squishing it. So we'll scale this image out. If I do need to fit that, I showed you earlier where this was, we'll just do 50% or about 25%, I guess is it. So I'm going to zoom out. We'll use that Command minus here. Okay, so I'll make that fit our screen. You can crop it if you want to, but you don't have to, because when we export it, it's going to actually, crop that for us. So I've got my image. I'm going to go back to fit. If you needed to fix the rotation, you could fix that a little bit too. There is a really nice quick angle tool if you did need to adjust your angle because your photo was crooked or you took it slightly crooked. There's the position. We've already adjusted the position and scaled it to fit how we want this to look on our slide. Then you have that recolor. There's just a few options here that you click on. It's kind of like more like filters. There might be one that you might find useful, but for the most part, I don't particularly think that's super useful. Under adjustments, we looked at some pretty advanced functions in other programs, but there is the brightness and contrast slider. So the brightness, if I want to increase my brightest values or my darkest values, I can play with this. Let's zero that out again. And then contrast, maybe we want to increase the contrast a little bit to get some of those values in our canyon there in the shadows. So we can increase this and kind of see if we like it. It does take a couple seconds to refresh, but maybe just a little bit. 20 looks pretty good. We don't need drop shadow, we don't need reflection, we don't need alternate text. So now that we've got the image on here, we don't need to crop it because we've already filled that screen. And by doing so, we've kind of already cropped it. We've adjusted the color. So if I do File, Download, we have a few different options. We'll just do a JPEG or a PNG probably. I'll just do a JPEG image for now. So we've got that image saved. It's 466 kilobytes. It looks pretty good. Do Get Info. You'll see it as 1920 by 1080.